One important thing I want to mention, and what's happening in the Muslim countries today, which led to the birth of those different sects in Islam. This is very important, and I wish more people will listen to this so we can understand what is happening in the world today. We said that the Quran should be understood literally unless there is an indication otherwise. So let's say Brother Asim sends me a text message, tells me, of course, this is just an imaginary scenario that never happened, by the way. He sends me a text message, I'm coming to the masjid. Do you want me to bring you anything with me? So I send him a message, bring me French fries. So he says, okay. He comes to the masjid with some French fries, and then I get upset with him. I said, why did you bring me French fries? He will say, you told me you want French fries. I said, I meant metaphorically. I meant I want mashed potato. Is this fair?
No.
So how do you say the Quran should be understood metaphorically? If there is nothing in my text message that says you should understand it metaphorically, then you understand it literally. Same thing. And there is another problem with understanding the Quran metaphorically. Let's say the same example. 4 people are coming to the masjid, and I send them all the exact same message. Bring me French fries on your way back, and they all answered, okay. The first one understands my message literally, and he brings French fries. The second one brings mashed potato. The third one brings hot potato or boiled potato. The fourth one brings raw potato. The first one understood me literally, and he brought what I asked for. The second and the third and the fourth understood me metaphorically, and they brought what they thought I asked for. When you want to understand the Quran metaphorically, you come up with many different opinions. When we say Allah has a hand, for example, we said Allah has a hand. He says that very clearly in the Quran. Some people will say we understand it metaphorically, which means Allah is generous. But we use the hand not only for spending. We use the hand to hit people. So how do you know when Allah says, I have a hand, that he means he's generous? What does that mean? He's strong, for example. So the hand, we use it in many different ways. If you want to understand the Quran metaphorically, you can come up with different opinions and different meanings. Some of them can be invalid. So that's the problem. But now the main thing is, and this is what has been happening in the Muslim world since the Ottomans came, the Dawla al-Uthmaniyya. What happened was, when a Muslim ruler who's a tyrant, who wants to rule the country according to his desires, how does he make the people follow him without revolting against him, without complaining? You basically tell them that this is Islam. I am ruling according to Islam, and they're Muslims. They cannot say why, they cannot say no, they cannot argue with you. How does the ruler convince the people that I am ruling according to Islam? He brings a scholar who is trusted and loved by the people, and he tells him, you make what I tell you halal, halal, and what I make haram, you make it haram, according to my desire. And you tell the people this is Islam, and people will listen to you because they trust you. And nobody will revolt. This has been happening. Now, if the scholar says no and he fears Allah, of course, the ruler will send him to Jannah as soon as possible, or will send him to jail as soon as possible. They can threaten you by hurting your family. Not only you, they can hurt your family. Those people don't fear Allah. So when they threaten you, the scholar says, okay, I'll say whatever you want me to say. But what happens is, subhanAllah, the same scholar, if you have an older recording, you hear him say something, and now, because he's scared, he has changed his opinion. And sometimes on YouTube, you can see before and after. It's like the shampoo conditioner commercials. Before and after. Somebody did not have hair, and then they got hair after. You know what I'm talking about? Same thing. That scholar, before, his opinions were all good, Islamically correct. Now they put a new video, and he's changed everything because he's been threatened. So what happens when those tyrants force the scholars to tell the people their new custom-made Islam, people cannot revolt because we're Muslims and we're supposed to follow Islam. And people trust these scholars. And that is the problem. But now we have hadith and Quran that might contradict with what this scholar is saying. Because the scholar is not speaking his real knowledge now. He's saying what he's being told to say by the tyrant. If the Quran and Hadith conflict with the scholar's statement, the Hadith is not a problem. We can fix that. Any Hadith that says this is a tyrant, we can just tell the people it's not authentic. And people will not investigate. But what are we going to do about the Quran? We cannot say to the people, the Quran is not authentic. What if there were ayat, verses in the Quran that say very clearly that this tyrant is not doing the right thing according to Islam, and so does the speaker or the scholar? There are two solutions. One solution, and I noticed this in our masjid, you tell the people the Quran is too hard. It's not for us. It's for the scholars to understand only. The scholars will understand the Quran, and then they will tell you what Allah is telling you. And many people, by the way, go this way because it's the easy way. And we have a group here, mashallah, in the masjid. They have nothing to do with the Quran. And you ask them why, they tell you Quran is only for the scholars. And this statement, the Quran is only for the scholars, goes against the second ayah of Surah Al-Baqarah. ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. That is the book, there is no doubt in it, guidance for those who are looking to be muttaqeen, have God's awareness. So it's for all mankind. The Quran is not for the scholars only. That's one route some people take. We tell them the Quran is not for you, only the hadith, and not only hadith. We choose the hadith you have to listen to. Any hadith that's against us is not authentic. Now, if your people were more educated and they know some Quran, how do we find a solution for them? This is the reason why I mentioned this whole story. We tell them, you understand this metaphorically. These ayat don't really mean this. It should be understood metaphorically, not literally. Like when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for example, he says, do not eat mayta, dead animal. If an animal died by itself, it's haram for you to eat. It's called mayta, dead. Versus if you slaughtered it yourself, basically. And that's why they say if you have a sick animal that's about to die, slaughter it quickly before it dies. If it dies on its own, it's haram to eat it. So they tell you, no, Allah did not mean really dead animal literally. He meant metaphorically. Dead animal means impure, means not healthy. So if the animal is healthy, and even if it's dead, it's okay to eat. So see, they can play with the rules if you understand it metaphorically, not literally. And that's another trick that are being used in many Muslim countries. We understand the Quran metaphorically, not literally, so we can give any meaning we feel like, and we solve the problem. And that's why those Muslim countries have been ruled. Tyranny and ignorance at the same time.